Hello and welcome. Tonight, Inter-Party Advisory Council urges the Independent National Electoral Commission to leverage on off-cycle elections to regain the trust of the people. And the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, defects to the All Progressives Congress from the PDP. Also tonight, President Bola Tinubu writes the Senate seeks confirmation of Professor Josh Amupito as new INEC chairman. And there's uncertainty over the next steps for Gaza after 20 living Israeli hostages and hundreds of Palestinian detainees were reunited with their families as part of a ceasefire deal.
And on business, IMF projects global economic growth to slow to 3.2% in 2025 as it upgrades Nigeria's outlook.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria Super Eagles sealed the playoff spot for the FIFA World Cup qualifier with a commanding 4-0 victory against Benin Republic in Uyo.
And from the nation's capital, Nigerian Immigration Service meets relevant stakeholders, sensitizes them about the new visa regime.
And we begin tonight from the Federal Capital Territory, where the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is urging the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to use all off-cycle elections to rebuild the trust of citizens ahead of the 2027 general elections. The chairman of IPAC, Mr. Yusuf Dantale, made the appeal at a meeting of political party leaders and the electoral umpire in Abuja. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has restated its commitment to ensure that votes count and the elections reflect the wish of the people.
It's less than a month to the November 8th governorship election in Anambra State, and the acting national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mrs. Mary Agbamuchi, is presiding over a meeting with the leadership of political parties in the country.
And on the well-established protocol.
The meeting has three agendas, namely the forthcoming Anambra governorship election, the area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory, and an update on the nationwide voter registration exercise.
The Commission has been working assiduously and making arrangements for the successful conduct of the Anambra State governorship election, and have had several engagements with the security agencies at national, state, and local government levels. The area council election in the FCT scheduled for 21st February 2026 will be held in 68 constituencies, made up of chairmen and their deputies for the 6 area councils. On the part of the Commission, I will wish to assure you of our commitment to deepening democracy through inclusive, transparent, and credible electoral processes.
The meeting also provides opportunity for political parties to speak to the electoral umpire on the integrity of the electoral process.
From your impressive...
Represented by the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, the political parties urge INEC to take advantage of the Anambra election and other off-cycle elections to rebuild the trust of citizens on its ability to conduct credible elections.
With the new leadership, citizens' expectations are high, very high. The Commission should justify the confidence the nation reposed in it. This is the only way to rebuild trust in the electoral process and encourage mass participation in future polls. INEC should put this act together and get it right. The success of the off-cycle election, this off-cycle election will set the stage for the upcoming elections in 2026, including the Federal Capital Territory Area Council polls, Osun and Ekiti States gubernatorial elections, and the decisive 2027 general election.
The Anambra governorship election is only 3 weeks away, and the success or failure of this exercise rests so much on the shoulders of the acting national chairman of INEC, the commissioners, as well as the political parties, their candidates, and their supporters' willingness to play by the rules.
And still in the FCT, the Federal High Court, Abuja, is adjourned till 16th of October, with hearing of a suit seeking to stop the planned national convention of the People's Democratic Party. The 3 plaintiffs, namely the Imo State PDP chairman, Austin Wachukwu, Abia PDP chairman, Ama Nana, and the South-South PDP secretary, George Turner, had instituted a suit seeking to stop the convention, scheduled for Ibadan in Oyo State, where new national officers are expected to be elected. At today's proceedings, the national chairman of the party, Umar Damagum, and the national legal advisor, Kamaldeen Ajibade, engaged in a power tussle in the open court on who had the power to appoint a legal representation of the party. While Damagum, who was physically present in court, in a letter he personally signed, mandated Chris Uche, SAN, to represent PDP in the legal action, Ajibade, a senior advocate of Nigeria, insisted that he was the only authority that could appoint legal representation for the PDP. Due to the development, Justice Omotosho stood down the hearing of the matter for 10 minutes for them to put their house in order. At the end of the 10 minutes, the two parties reported that they were unable to reconcile on legal representation, prompting Chris Uche to seek a short adjournment to enable the national chairman and a national legal advisor to see how to reconcile their differences.
I said it before, we are not perturbed. We believe at the end of the day, for the common people, which we are right now, justice will be served.
What transpired is that there was a bit of an issue over the representation of the second defender, who is the PDP. And the courts adjourned more or less for that issue of representation to be sorted out. The time for the parties has now been abridged. Each party now has 24 hours to respond to the processes. And then some new parties who indicated interest, particularly the chairman of the PDP, Ambassador Damagum, has now been joined as a party alongside two others. So we needed to consequentially amend our processes to reflect this joinder. That will be done. We have 24 hours to file, and by 12 o'clock on Thursday, the entire matter will be heard.
And the Enugu State Governor, Mr. Peter Mbah, officially dumped the People's Democratic Party to join the All Progressives Congress, the APC. While declaring his commitment to the APC, Governor Mbah said his defection will put an end to fragmented politics and bring prosperity to the state and the people. Present at the rally to officially welcome him to the APC are the leaders of the party from across the nation, led by Vice President Kashim Shettima.
The Michael Okpara Square is filled to capacity as leaders of the All Progressives Congress, including Vice President Kashim Shettima, members of the Progressive Governors Forum, National Assembly members and the National Working Committee of the party gather for the official defection rally of Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah. The chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma welcomes Governor Mbah to the party, describing the decision as wise and bold.
We are here very excited and very delighted to receive our dear brother, the governor of Enugu State, into our family, and informed us of his decision to join the All Progressive Congress. We in this part of the world, the Southeast, we are very excited and very happy.
Other speakers at the event, including the Senate President, highlights the overall benefit of Enugu being a progressive state.
This is a journey that will bring progress. This is a journey that will bring more development. Your Excellency, I thank you for what I've seen. I am a man that believes in progress. The entire Nigerian Senate is here. The leader of the Senate, Mbah is with me. May I add that the reason why we are here with my brother, the Right Honorable Speaker, is because we are very happy.
And you're welcome in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Assuring Governor Mbah of equal treatment, the national chairman of APC then hands over the symbol of the party to the governor.
Today, we are coming together as the Southeast to put an end to fragmented politics.
For the vice president who is representing President Bola Tinubu, the leadership of the party in the state going forward lies with the state governor.
For Governor Peter Mbah, let me say this with warmth and humor, that you have always been one of us. You are a progressive true, and I am convinced that you had a broom hidden in your umbrella all these years, waiting for the right moment to bring it out. I want to warmly welcome you to the APC. And as far as the APC convention and constitution, the governor is the leader of the party in the state.
Enugu State becomes the third APC state in the southeast. The people are hopeful that the connection to power at the center, which the governor cited as his reason for defection, will bring more dividends of democracy to the state.
And to the education sector now, the leadership of the House of Representatives is to intervene in the ongoing rift between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, which has led to the ongoing strike by the union. This follows a motion by Representative Sensi Wingen. The intervention of the House leadership is to provide a lasting solution to the dispute. Meanwhile, the House has passed a resolution for the establishment and realization of the Ibom Deep Sea Port, which lawmakers say will lead to the expansion of haulage networks, boost export capacity, attract foreign direct investments, and contribute significantly to Nigeria's GDP. Our National Assembly correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
A new legislative week commences in the Green Chamber. The Kaduna State Governor is led into the chamber to witness the defection of 3 members of the PDP from Kaduna State to the APC. Representatives Sadiq Abdullahi, Abdul Karim Mahmad, and Aliyu Abdullahi are welcomed to the majority APC party by the Speaker after reading their letters of defection on the floor of the House. Lawmakers then turn their attention to pressing national issues, one of which is the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities.
The House hereby resolves to mandate the leadership of the House, led by the People's Speaker, the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, to immediately intervene between the federal government and ASU and facilitate a mutually acceptable, lasting solution to the ongoing disputes.
The motion is adopted. Another motion sponsored by all the lawmakers from Akwa Ibom State, which seeks to contribute significantly to the nation's GDP, is also taken and adopted.
Aware that if this project is actualized, it will directly stimulate local economies, create employment, catalyze industrial growth, strengthen marine value chains. The House resolved to urge the federal government to initiate a collaborative framework with the government of Akwa Ibom State for the establishment and realization of the Ibom Deep Sea Ports.
In the meantime, the House is calling for transparent and equitable allocation of a forfeited Abuja estate allegedly linked to the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, which was handed over to the Ministry of Housing by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
That the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development develop and publish a transparent and inclusive allocation framework for the covered estate, prioritize low and middle income earners, internally displaced persons, and vulnerable groups.
Also, the House receives and approves a security motion calling for urgent intervention in Sokoto State.
The House notes that recent escalation of banditry and violent attacks across communities in Kebbi and Tambuwal Federal Constituency, resulting in widespread killings, abduction, and mass displacement of residents. The House resolves to 1. Urge the Nigerian Armed Forces, Nigerian Police Force, and other relevant security agencies to immediately reinforce deployment and enhance joint operations in Kuchi area of Kebe-Tambuwal local government, mandates the committees on ECOWAS Parliament and Foreign Affairs to help normalize relations with neighboring states, especially the Niger Republic, to enable cross-border intelligence sharing and regional cooperation to curb arms flow, insecurity, and transnational banditry in our border communities.
The House observes a moment of silence for victims of the attacks, while also mandating its security committees to ensure prompt implementation of resolutions reached. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
And in part two, after the break, former presidential aspirant Mohammed Hayatuddin calls for stronger institutions and better governance structure in the country. You join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The Inter-Party Advisory Council throws a challenge to the Independent National Electoral Commission, urging INEC to use the upcoming off-cycle elections to win back the trust of Nigerians. Then the state governor, Peter Mbah, dumps the PDP for the All Progressives Congress in a move that's already stirring reactions across the political landscape. And President Bola Tinubu writes the Senate seeking confirmation of Professor Joash Amupitan as a new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. An uncertainty looms over Gaza, even after 20 Israeli hostages and hundreds of Palestinian detainees were united with their families in the latest ceasefire swap deal. And President Bola Tinubu has formally written seeking the confirmation of Professor Joash Amupitan as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The request was read on the floor of the Senate by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, during plenary, alongside other communications from the President regarding appointment requiring legislative approval. Our National Assembly correspondent, Gloria Mizake, reports.
The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, leads lawmakers into the first plenary session of the week.
Distinguished Senate President.
Without delay, the Senate President reads a series of correspondences from President Bola Tinubu, including a letter requesting the confirmation of the newly appointed chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Distinguished Senate President, request for confirmation of appointment of the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The appointment of Professor Joash Amupitan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as chairman. This is referred to the Committee of the Whole for consideration as soon as practicable.
Barely an hour into plenary, another defection to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is announced.
I have the honor to respectfully notify all distinguished senators of my defection from the People's Democratic Party with effect from 11th day of October. This is signed by Dr. Smaila Dahuwa Kaila. You are welcome to the APC.
Following this latest defection, the APC now holds 73 out of 109 seats in the upper chamber, giving the party a clear two-thirds majority in the Senate.
President, distinguished colleagues.
Following a decision reached by the upper chamber last week, lawmakers dissolved into a closed-door session to discuss the recent allegations from the United States Congress, alleging persecution of Christians in Nigeria. They emerge with a resolution.
Set up a small ad hoc committee to advise the Senate within 1 week on the reaction to the current discussions going on in the United States Congress, to come up with a position paper on what should be presented to the executive and also to the Senate that will form a major reaction of the approach of the legislature in Nigeria towards the ongoing discussions in America with facts and statistics.
The Senate also debated a motion raised by Senator Anyeka Mbasi on tackling dangers of irregular migration through Libya.
We should sensitize them to recognize that some countries are in a state of anarchy, that it does not make sense for Nigeria to go there in search of anything.
The Senate resolved to mandate its committees on diaspora, judiciary, human rights and foreign affairs to investigate the operations of traffickers to strengthen deterrence and enhance protection for potential migrants. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umejoke, Channels Television News.
And as Nigeria marches towards the 2027 general elections, former presidential aspirant Mohammed Hayatuddin has called for stronger institutions and better governance to sustain the nation's democratic journey. Hayatuddin made the call at the formal presentation of 2 books on leadership and national development, written by former member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Dakuku Peterside. He also urged the electoral umpire to address past glitches, ensure timely registration of political parties, and conduct future polls in line with global best practices. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
Present here in this hall are former governors, lawmakers, government officials, and distinguished guests. The event is a formal presentation of 2 books on leadership and national development by former member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Dakuku Peterside. Leading in a Storm and Beneath the Surface, Essays on Nigeria's Checkered Journey. Former presidential aspirant Mr. Mohammed Hayatuddin, who chaired the occasion, delivered the opening remarks.
As we march forward in this nascent democracy, there's a lot more we can do to strengthen governance and public institutions, without which this journey will be a road to nowhere. As we approach 2027, we need to create a climate conducive to the conduct of credible, free and fair elections. Incumbent elective office holders are enjoined to render an account of their stewardship, defend their record, and clearly justify the need for seeking another mandate.
The books were reviewed with speakers emphasizing their depth, relevance, and timing.
The 6 thematic sections in the book encompasses everything from hunger and education to electoral politics and national security. And collectively, they reflect the multidimensional nature of Nigeria's crisis.
This book is rooted in African contexts, yet globally attuned. It connects to leadership theory, to local realities as well. From literary standpoint, it is written in clear, instructional prose that fuses storytelling, strategy, and scholarship into one seamless experience.
Then came the formal unveiling of the books.
The challenge we have as a country is not lack of ideas. It is the utilization of ideas, the courage to implement ideas. We've made this available. We believe that people will pick up ideas, implement them, and want to see a society that is stable, self-sufficient, is stable, a society that serves the interest of majority of our people.
Some invited guests spoke on the importance of the books and the need for active followership in national development.
These 2 books will fill the gap. There has been an existing gap, which I would say it's been caused not as a result of what is happening with either the leadership or the followership, but for people who have been in leadership positions, not depositing their knowledge.
We should also focus on the followers, the led, all right? Because I really think that when the leaders are not changing, when the leaders are not shifting, and the dynamics of situation we are seeing today in our country, the led, the follower, should be able to step it up and make the difference.
Discussions at the launch underscored that the two books challenge Nigerians to re-examine leadership, governance, and values, urging a collective commitment to building a purposeful, accountable, and value-driven society. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
And back to education. UNILAG Alumni Association is poised to, among other things, build a digital network of connectivity for the University of Lagos alumni that leaves this generation and UNILAG alumni brand to level up with its global peers. President of UNILAG Alumni Association, Engineer Ife Oyedele, disclosed this when he led other executive members on a courtesy call on Dr. John Mama at the Channel TV headquarters in Lagos. In line with the UNILAG Alumni Association's progressive outlook, the association has selected distinguished individuals for its Platinum Lifetime Achievement Award coming up on October 17th. Engineer Oyedele speaks on some of the contributions of the distinguished individuals that have been chosen for the awards.
Why we are recognizing some individuals who, although they are not alumni of the University of Lagos, like Chief Kasintin Adebutu, who has done tremendously well in funding several infrastructural developments, establishing endowing professorial chairs in the University of Lagos, in the College of Medicine of the University of Lagos. Somebody like Chief Tunde Fanimoku, who is spending the kind of fund that is capable of establishing another university. So one of the things that has happened is that we have found it very easy to communicate with alumni, and so we have branches all over the world today. We have the North American chapter, we have the UK chapter, we have the Asian chapters, we have branches all over Nigeria. And so one of the things we're doing is to make sure that class sets that bond more easily with themselves, departmental alumni groups, faculty alumni groups, branches form the bedrock for the running of the association. Now, with the university community, we have been able to establish and to have an understanding that the Alumni Association is not in competition with the university.
And still ahead on the news at 10, IMF projects global economic growth will slow to 3.2% in 2025 as it upgrades Nigeria's outlook. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Well, let's head to our Abuja studio now for more national updates. Hello, Gloria. What's the latest in your end?
Many thanks, Ladi. We begin in Abuja with the Nigeria Immigration Service, which says the expatriate quota reform, new visa regime, and post-amnesty voluntary return and documentation programs are initiatives aimed at achieving the twin mandate of border governance and migration management. According to the service, these innovations will streamline processes, enhance security, and improve overall experience for travelers and other stakeholders, while the expatriate quota reform will re-engineer expatriate monitoring process.
The management of the Nigerian Immigration Service is meeting stakeholders to enlighten them on the implementation of various innovations introduced by the service to improve migration management. The reforms include the e-visa application channel, the comprehensive expatriate permit and automated card, the temporary work permit, as well as the electronic landing and exit cards. The Controller General of the service believes the new visa regime is improving Nigeria's migration management.
The new visa regime introduces innovative digital solutions, such as the e-visa application channel, the e-SEPA, the e-TWP, the electronic landing and exit cards. Through these innovations, supported by the Advanced Passenger Information System and the passenger name record system, and also the command and control center. We are streamlining processes, we are enhancing security, and improving the experience of expatriates, travelers, and stakeholders alike.
In his remark, the president of the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde, welcomed the migration reforms, stating that the regime is making it easier for companies to access expatriate knowledge in their operations.
This stakeholder engagement reflects government's determination to implement the various reforms with fairness, clarity, and firmness. This initiative is not punitive, it is restorative. It offers foreign nationals who may have fallen out of compliance with immigration regulations a lawful path to regularization while reinforcing Nigeria's sovereignty and adherence to the rule of law. This is what effective migration governance looks like. Firm on standards, yet remain in execution.
According to the service, the reform will enhance expatriate administration system as well as bring visa processing and administration to the doorstep of companies hiring foreigners to work in Nigeria. The idea is to embrace digitization while protecting the country's integrity, sovereignty, and socio-economic activities.
To company news now. First City Monument Bank, FCMB, is once again calling on its esteemed shareholders and the general public to buy into its latest public offer, with the total value at 160 billion naira. The group says this is a step towards meeting the CBN's 500 billion naira capital base requirement, while also rewarding the bank's shareholders.
Management of FCMB and other stakeholders are present as the group presents a total of 16 billion shares at 10 naira each on the floor of the Nigerian exchange.
Maybe some of them that I didn't even...
The Group Chief Executive of FCMB, Mr. Ladi Balogun, while handing a breakdown of performance and projections for the future, gives reasons why this public offer is suitable for investment.
With cost of funds coming down for us generally, not just from this capital, but also from the fact that we're growing our low-cost deposits fairly fast, with the fact that we're one of the leading lenders in SME and retail lending, where we achieve an average yield of about, between the two, somewhere in the region of about 40%. And finally, just to recap, the price to book at which we're trading makes us relatively cheap.
The recapitalization is to bolster the group's financial position and enable it to invest in its subsidiaries, which include First City Monument Bank, CSL Stockbrokers Limited, FCMB Capital Markets Limited, FCMB Trustees Limited, and others. He goes ahead and states FCMB's group's growth projection.
We expect that the international footprint will be very different from what it is today, and it will create an additional platform of growth for the group. So the banking group is likely to have 4 to 5 more subsidiaries in it in the next 5 years.
Regulator, FCMB coming back to shore up capital speaks to the current state of the market.
The FCMB coming back to the market is really going to benefit from the robustness of the market at this particular time. Year-to-date trading value is over 24 billion naira, despite the devaluation. So as a market, we're really pleased to see the interest, but we think that the equity market will still have more room for growth, given the fact that fixed income rates are coming down.
The group also notes that its low-cost deposit is on a growth path, and the current move is to improve capital ratio.
As a shareholder, you are definitely advised to seriously consider this opportunity for your portfolio going forward for several reasons, in terms of bringing it together to actually deliver shareholder value, growing the earnings per share forward, as well as the returns on average equity.
Ranked 7th in the Nigerian banking environment, FCMB wants to build on the present momentum with a plan to expand into new categories and enhance its fintech operations. This public offer will come to a close on 6th of November 2025.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's now back to Ladi for the rest of the news at 10.
And it was another moment of celebration for Zenith Bank, ringing out on a note of confidence and progress on the trading floor of the Nigerian exchange. The founder and chairman, Mr. Jim Ovia, was especially honored to perform the traditional closing gong ceremony, reaffirming the bank's strong relationship with the stock exchange. At the event, the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Dora Merji, revealed the bank's strategic plans to expand its operations across more African countries as part of its vision to strengthen regional presence and drive sustainable growth.
Leading the executive management team of Zenith Bank PLC is the chairman and founder, Mr. Jim Ovia, as he's joined by traders and brokers on the floor of the Nigerian exchange to perform the traditional closing gong ceremony, signaling the end of the day's trading session. The symbolic gesture marks another milestone in the long-standing partnership between Zenith Bank and the Nigerian Exchange Group, a relationship said to have contributed to the bank's sustained growth and market leadership. The event also comes on the heels of the bank's recent recapitalization success, which saw Zenith raise over 350 billion naira, recording a 160% public subscription rate.
And since the capital raise exercise, we've been able to use part of the money to expand our footprints. We've started by opening our Paris branch, and we are going to move from there to Côte d'Ivoire, which we are already processing the license. We are going to obtain the license very soon, and from there, it will give us a passporting right to 8 other Francophone African countries. And this our expansion strategy is as a result of us following our customers' business and ensuring that we go to countries and economies where we can scale and be able to provide more returns for our shareholders.
Commending Zenith Bank's performance and resilience, the chairman of the Nigeria Exchange Group reaffirms the exchange's commitment to supporting the bank and other listed companies in maintaining strong investors' confidence and global competitiveness.
Today, we stand with the DG of SEC with us here in the capital market. We will always make sure that we support you for this type of success stories that we are going to tell the world. Part of the discussions of today is not only to continue with only equities, to look at other products of this market, the derivatives. We will make sure that by next year it's going to be a different story. For us, we're encouraging more companies to come and be listed on this exchange. We thank those that are listed, those that are not listed. Please come and join so that we can share the not only success story but the wealth of this country.
With market confidence at an all-time high and strategic partnerships that are strengthened, Zenith Bank says it remains focused on driving innovation, expansion, and value creation for its stakeholders, reinforcing its position as one of Africa's leading financial institutions.
And for more business, here's Will Ibong.
Thank you, Ladi. Now, the International Monetary Fund has released its latest World Economic Outlook, projecting global growth to slow from 3.3% in 2024 to 3.2% this year and 3.1% in 2026. According to the report, advanced economies are expected to grow by 1.5%, while emerging and developing economies will expand by just over 4%. The IMF also upgraded Nigeria's growth forecast to 3.9% this year and 4.2% in 2026. Global inflation is expected to keep easing, though unevenly across countries. The IMF urged governments to rebuild fiscal buffers, protect central bank independence, and intensify structural reforms to sustain recovery. Now, still on forecast, economic think tank Financial Derivatives Company projects Nigeria's headline inflation to decline slightly to 19.65% in September from 20.12% in August, ahead of official data from the MBS. The drop is linked to stable exchange rates, lower fuel and diesel prices, and seasonal base effects. According to FDC, food inflation is also expected to ease to 21.18% from 21.87%, helped by improved food supply during the harvest season. Core inflation could drop to 19.87% as logistics costs and exchange rates remain steady. However, monthly inflation is forecast to edge higher to 1.94% as harvest season ends. With the Monetary Policy Committee meeting in late November, experts anticipate a cautious 25 basis points rate cut to support economic stability. Now we're checking with the domestic equities markets, which recorded a mild pullback in today's trading session, largely from profit-taking in Dangote Sugar. Inijomekwa tells us more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, investor sentiment at the NGX at the close of trade was just in between. The market lost just 4 billion naira, and that's why we see hardly noticing any change right here for the market cap. The all share also is on 0.00%. Though because of that 4 billion naira, it's the color red that we have, and we're sustaining the 147,000 level. And to show that it was more of a negative sentiment, we saw 27 stocks gained while 35 posted losses at the close of trade. Top trades today are those stocks that caught the attention of investors the most are Fidelity, Accessco, as well as Charms right there. But look at the counter, and at least that will give us a little bit of what's going on in the market. Banking today closed in the red because of Accessco mostly. And then when we look at consumer goods, it's 0.1%, so slight. Honeywell flour, investors had a little bit of pity on it. Oil and gas, however, made it to the red part, 0.09%. And so, at the close of this trade, it's a slight one, but we still hear the bear just a bit.
And that's business news. It's back to you, Laddie.
Thanks, Will. Well, for international news, now I have Simon Pusey with Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. There's uncertainty over the next steps for Gaza after 20 living Israeli hostages and hundreds of Palestinian detainees were reunited with their families as part of a ceasefire deal. The IDF says it has identified the bodies of 4 hostages returned by Hamas, but families have expressed anger that the bodies of up to 24 other hostages have not been returned. In Gaza, fears are growing among Palestinians that Hamas's delay in handing over the bodies could derail the fragile ceasefire.
We now come to the statement. Prime Minister Keir
Starmer says the focus in the days and weeks ahead is the relentless implementation of the peace plan.
We have the chance, and it is a chance, to bring a terrible chapter in history finally to a close. We urgently need to see more aid and faster. All restrictions must now be lifted. The need for food, sanitation, healthcare and shelter are still acute. While the signing yesterday was historic, what matters now is implementation and getting help in as quickly as possible. Making that peace last will be no less difficult a task. Along with our allies, our absolute focus in the days and weeks ahead is the relentless implementation of this peace plan. That is no small challenge.
Lawmakers in Madagascar's National Assembly have voted to impeach President Andraswell. He has rejected the vote, saying it's null and void. It is unclear where Andraswell is. On Monday evening, he made a live broadcast to the nation on Facebook from a safe place. Thousands of protesters in the capital are demanding his resignation. A senior army general says the security forces are working together to maintain order. On Sunday, Andraswell said that an attempt to seize power was underway. 3 police officers have been killed and at least 15 other people injured in a apparently deliberate gas explosion at a farmhouse in northern Italy. The blast was triggered as police and firefighters went into the house near Verona to carry out an eviction order for 2 brothers and a sister in their late 50s and mid-60s. The 3 victims who died were members of the Carabinieri military police. A man and a woman were arrested at the scene. Vote counting is underway in Cameroon following Sunday's presidential election, in which incumbent Paul Biya is seeking to extend his 43 years in power. Biya, who at 92 is the world's oldest head of state, is being challenged by 9 candidates. If he wins, it will be his 8th consecutive term in office, with the next election due in 2032. One of Biya's main rivals has claimed victory, a declaration which flouts a government warning that any unilateral publication of results would amount to high treason. Google's parent company, Alphabet, will invest $15 billion to build an AI data hub in southern India's Andhra Pradesh state. The facility, which will be set up in the port city of Visakhapatnam, will be part of Google's global network of AI centers spread across 12 countries. The announcement comes at a time when US President Donald Trump has been asking American companies to prioritize domestic investment. Venezuela has announced it will close its embassy in Oslo days after opposition leader Maria Corina Machado was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. In a statement, the Venezuelan government did not comment on Machado's prize, saying that the closure was part of a restructuring of its foreign service. Norway's foreign ministry confirmed that Caracas had closed its embassy in Oslo without providing a reason. The Nobel Committee in Oslo awarded her the prize on Friday in recognition of what it called her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. And a major nor'easter cyclone has hit several states across the U.S. northeastern coast. Strong winds caused fallen trees in New York, and heavy rains resulted in flooding in New Jersey and Virginia. The cyclone is named for the direction that winds blow in the western North Atlantic Ocean. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. We begin with football. Nigeria's Super Eagles have kept their qualification hopes of playing that next year's World Cup alive with a commanding 4-0 thrashing of Benin Republic at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo earlier this evening. The result means the Super Eagles ended their CAF Group C World Cup qualifying campaign second in Group C and progressed to the Interconfederation playoffs for a chance to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, so it's not done yet. A brilliant hat-trick, however, from Victor Osimhen and a stoppage time strike from Frank Onyeka sealed the emphatic victory. Continental playoff in November in Morocco.
It was not easy with a new coach, with a new philosophy, to acclimate really faster. So now we go to Morocco. This is not finished. This is the beginning. It will be very, very, very difficult. So tonight I'm just happy for my player. They played a great game 2 hours ago. They played a great game 3 days ago. And like I said before in the last conference press, thanks God because you are here. And I'm happy for the fans because they bring us the victory. They start to help us to push us to take this victory. The player played a very great game.
Meanwhile, South Africa defeated Rwanda 3-0 in Mbombela to win the Group C and qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Talente Mbah and Oswin Apollo scored in the first half for South Africa, and Evidence Mapgopa sealed the victory with a goal midway through the second half. South Africa topped the table with 18 points, one more than Nigeria. It will be the 4th appearance for South Africa at the global showpiece. Staying with the World Cup qualifiers, Cape Verde fans have commended their team for a tough fight after securing their place in the football global showpiece for the first ever time. The team from an island off the coast of Senegal with about 550,000 inhabitants becomes the second least populous nation to reach the World Cup after Iceland with just over 350,000 at the Russia 2018. Cape Verde won Group D with 23 points. And away from football, Israel's gymnasts will not be able to compete at the upcoming World Championships in Indonesia after the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, rejected the request from the Israeli Federation to guarantee the participation of its team. Israel demanded the court either and that's it on Sports News. Ladi, back to you.
Thanks, Olumide. And the main news again. The Inter-Party Advisory Council has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission to use the upcoming off-cycle elections to win back the trust of Nigerians. And that's it on News at 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Good night.